I want to tell you a story, a novel about the shipwreck of an entire generation, loyal to the stuff. It was my mom, the one who bought me my first camera. I used to make around the city all the time, jumping from one gig to another. I wasn't alone. There was always a good bunch of slackers with me, whose only interest was to smoke some hashish or marijuana, going around, finding a secluded spot somewhere in the bush where we could finally pull out some old dresses and hats, put some makeup on, and then take pictures was for us some sort of primal ritual. Most of the times, our missions were accompanied by a dozen doses of LSD. Our camouflages represented a change, a mutation, a way to become something else, an escape from the everyday darkness. I think of myself as kid on a journey, a sleeping bag as my sole luggage, but with the camera always hanging from my shoulder. The dramas I suffered when I was forced to give my cameras away when desperate for a dose of heroin and the consequent Herculean task to buy them back. What a huge loss of memories would have been if I didn't take up that first little and precious year and the many others to follow.
Si è arrivato a un punto in cui è cominciata ad arrivare l'eroina e i primi buchi e da lì le cose sono precipitate poi, nel giro di pochissimi mesi, le code per prendere il metadone, poi comunque tanti ricoveri, tanti tentativi, finché arriva il momento in cui ti rendi conto che devi cambiare la tua vita. Le 5-6 persone con cui ho condiviso tutto e che chiaramente mi porto dentro perché fanno parte di quella vita e anche in positivo, perché io non mi nego assolutamente nulla.
In the early 70s, the people of my generation found themselves in a situation of general agitation, socially, politically, and culturally speaking. The young ones loudly asked for the reformation and upgrade of the educational system, too antiquated in its concept, yet still in force. This cultural ferment grew up together with other incitements that were coming from the US, found in Kerouac and Ginsberg's books, in Timothy Leary's mind-opening words, in the celebration of psychedelics, and this branch finally prevailed on the other. Kerouac's On the Road became our Bible. Transgressing to experience was our motto. Traveling to get to know people and places, swallowing down a dose of LSD became the norm. The society was becoming inadequate for our lifestyle. Studying, getting a job, following the rules, undertaking the mandatory military service was simply not for us. The commune was our highest aim. A simple life in the country, free love and eventually a little piece of land to grow our food. We were young and thought we would always be. There was no need to grow up, no projection about our future, and no worries at all.
Torino tra la fine degli anni 70 e i primi anni 80 viveva ancora di rigurgiti del periodo della tensione politica. A Torino c'erano pochi locali e in questi pochi locali si creavano degli eventi. I concerti si svolgevano prevalentemente al Big, al Tuxedo, al metro. Mi ricordo ad esempio a cavallo tra la fine degli anni 70 e poi i primi anni 80, ma questo poi per tutti gli anni 80, una diffusione pazzesca di sostanze pesanti, di eroina.
Despite our need to express ourselves and communicate, interaction with our parents was equal to zero. Our points of view were diametrically opposite. To very discreet private and sentimental lives, we preferred our open sexual freedom, nudity, promiscuity in the open space and in the big festivals with many different people. They strongly believed that work and sacrifice were the key to a stable life and a wealthy future. We claimed that uncertainty, little jobs here and there and no commitments were the only stairway to happiness. In some kind of anti-capitalistic tamed ideal, a simple life wouldn't need much, and we would have been able to sort ourselves from scratches anyway. Those differences turned into a generational clash. We challenged them and provoked them with escapes from home, vagabond living, snatchy jobs and little thefts, every now and then, proletarian expropriation and long travels. Soon those ideals proved to be utopian, let's admit it frankly. More sad is to admit that many of my generation abjured those ideals, quickly becoming part of the system and secured of their social lives and careers, clinging onto any set position offered and jumping from one philosophy to its opposite, just like nothing happened.
Mi piace ricordare quegli anni perché abbiamo vissuto di vita relativa alla musica meravigliosa, il movimento che c'era in quegli anni, il movimento che era sia mentale che fisico, si andava un po' dappertutto, col cuore, con la mente, col corpo, ci spostavamo continuamente. Il calore umano che c'era intorno a noi era un periodo fantastico, quindi ho avuto modo di così incontrare tantissima gente e tantissime storie. Sono stati anni molto duri, ma nello stesso tempo vitali. Quello che è successo quegli anni lì è stata come uno smontare tutto un movimento generazionale che si stava creando e che si era creato in una maniera straordinaria, ed è stato smontato anche grazie all'introduzione della meraviglia, no? L'eroina è entrata a far parte della vita di tantissima gente, ci ha portati lontani da noi stessi.
As for many other European cities, also Turin was boiling up with riots in the early 70s, with students' protests demonstrations and big working class riots. It was urban guerrilla down along Corso Traiano Avenue once, with cop chasing and beating hard, and working class supporters throwing vases and flower pots down the balconies. Fiat, the big factory, dictated the pace of a city social life. At 9 o'clock at night, everybody was already home to be able to start at 6 a.m. the next morning in the factory. But finally the youth protests, the hippie wave and moreover, the music from UK and the US, and drugs like marijuana brought up a fresh breeze of dissent, and therefore changes were just around the corner. Guitars started being taken up, and rustic drum sets were made up from scratches. Hippie-style jamming sessions started taking place in the urban parks, but soon the first amplifiers popped out, together with electric guitars. Garages and basements got consequently assaulted to play in and jam, and little by little the first live music bars and clubs, independent radios and labels were being burned. Turin swarmed of nightlife, gigs, concerts, cool people, new protagonists of this brand new, powerful and liberating reality which was wiping away the dull-old image of Torino as the city of work and sacrifice.
Gli anni 70 e 80 in qualche modo sono stati un fanculo per me, in qualche modo. Nei 70 era un fanculo legato più a una dimensione, si può dire anche politica, no? Che in quegli anni agiva in tutto il sociale, perché era un'epoca in cui musica e sociale stavano particolarmente d'accordo. Negli anni 80 il fanculo è diventato ancora più potente. Il magma di quegli anni, molto creativo, si può dire che si esplicitava, si manifestava anche in eccessi nella vita di ognuno. Si può dire che il 50-60% dei musicisti erano tossici. Che ricordare quegli anni, farne testimonianze eccetera, l'unico scopo benefico, benigno, produttivo, fecondo, è quello di rendere queste testimonianze, quell'esperienza, come qualcosa di vivo e non un qualcosa che si va a visitare come un museo, che è roba morta, che non produce più nulla.
In the mid-70s, we were caught by the charm and inspirational contents of movies like Tommy, The Who's Rock and Roll Opera, and Pink Floyd's Live at Pompeii. Led Zeppelin's movie The Song Remains the Same, and most of all Woodstock, 3 Days of Peace, Love and Music. We got shocked by the images found in that film. Never seen anything like that before. Crowds of people together, naked in the sun, in the rain, free to get stoned and make love, supported by a soundtrack of wonderful music, composed by great, unachievable music stars, a dream come true. Anyway, when heroin made its triumphal entry in our lives and powerfully slapped us to pull us down, the myth of music took a different path. None of us thought about the premature deaths in the music star's world as a decadent and romantic mark in history. Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin and Jim Morrison were myths indeed, but their deaths were just accidental in our opinion. It was easier to think of all the other artists who notoriously abused drugs and made heaps of money enjoying their lives singing and playing around the globe. If the Rolling Stones or Lou Reed or David Bowie could jump on the stage relentlessly for years and decades, why couldn't we? The only real project in our disorderly lives at that time was the Prostitutes. Born in 1979, the band's aim was to play live and tour around as much as we could, to spread our defiance lyrics and thoughts, and reach audience with our anarchic philosophy full of riot, to produce and sell records and be able to live of this. We were full on into the band. Art and life experience were one thing, until heroin didn't bring up its devastating power into everyone's personal lives. It was the glowing agent in the microcosm of idealism, ambitions, exhibitionism, and desire to communicate. The Prostitutes' music didn't leave any space for thoughts. The style was raw, meager, in line with the thorny lines of our songs. We want to ravish the system, the power, the Catholic Church, using our music to express the individual's primary rights, to be different, whether homosexuals, hippies, stoners, against armies and the military service. This explosive mixture made the band esteemed and renowned by a little crew of enthusiasts, but put away by the majority of people who could promote it. The band name itself was already keeping off producers and labels, but obviously the idea of changing the name or anything regarding our ideals, lyrics or our approach was never taken into consideration.
Summer of Love, Grace Slick ha detto: noi siamo il futuro, voi siete il passato, raccogliete le vostre carabattole e levatevi dalle palle. Questa è stata la nostra generazione. Per quanto riguarda la musica dei Prostitutes, bisogna dire innanzitutto che tutto parte dal punk. Il punk inteso come liberazione culturale, musicale e artistica. Perché a quel tempo, poco prima che arrivasse il punk, eravamo arrivati a una sorta di degenerazione estetica che arrivava al glam rock o arrivava a gruppi come gli Yes, in cui il rock veniva fatto da dei geni musicali mostruosi. Bene, quando è arrivato il punk ha dato questa enorme libertà a tutti, ha detto: volete suonare, volete esprimervi, pigliate la chitarra e suonate, non ha nessuna importanza la vostra tecnica e la vostra maestranza negli strumenti. Questa grande generazione che doveva cambiare il mondo e che in parte l'ha cambiato a vari livelli della società è stata una generazione perdente, perché il mondo di oggi è l'esatto contrario del mondo che noi volevamo.
The concept of traveling in our generation was part of a proper social and cultural revolution. Our running around was a school of life and a way to enrich our lives with acknowledgement and experience. It wasn't much about visiting places, but mostly exchange opinions, realize and love the other human beings. Rome, Berlin, Amsterdam, Naples, Paris. No distance could refrain us from moving, and no boundaries could ever stop us. How many times did we dream those bars to just disappear? And those cruel rituals of checks and perquisition, and the consequent mockery of our clothes and their styles at the borders to stop one day. The act of traveling itself was a protest to claim our freedom. You'll never stop us. We don't care about your borders, your barriers, and your divisions between countries. We do not recognize states, but only peoples, and you will never prevent us from catching up and joining together. Legendary 70s, years of emancipation, freedom and great sex. The world was changing. Nudity wasn't embracing anymore and sex was more immediate and spontaneous. The reality was that we didn't know a damn about sex. Less than zero. We got to learn by reading porn magazines or hearing from old older fellas imaginative tales, slowly starting to emancipate ourselves from the bigot indoctrination received in the church communities, and hardly enjoying all that sexual freedom in full. created even more troubles in this matter. Heroin wasn't interfering with sexual activity, but was sterilizing the whole experience, making us glacial cold, unable to feel anything. The epic of a great sex era even thought it was full of encounters, was scarce in affection and feelings. Incapable to welcome love, our hearts remain arid. That was it. Amen. Smoking hashish in order to open ourselves to new experiences. That was the beginning, a conscious choice, the opposite of heroin assumption. With heroin, any capability of discernment and choice ends up when, all of a sudden, you start feeling those annoying symptoms that prevent you from living a normal life. That famous monkey on your shoulder. Heroin is the irresistible kind of drug. Its effects are the remedy to all the problems. It's the drug of coldness and control. It can wipe away shyness, insecurity and fear with the blank of an eye. Someone said that heroin is not a drug, it's a lifestyle. This is just bullshit. Think of Keith Richards or Mick Jagger or all the others who massively abused it. They all quit at some point. Nobody can live like that for very long. Not even stars who have deep pockets, let alone people who don't have a lot of money. The stuff monopolizes every single aspect of the existence. Everything boils down to the moment of wait for the pusher to bring you the dose and the related struggles and troubles to find the money for it. All your relationships and sentimental life are nothing more than a sterile sexual exercising. At the end of a long drug addiction, you choose again. You can quit and finally start living a proper life, or you can go on like this and run towards certain self-destruction.
Il mio background, quando sono arrivata a inserirmi nel gruppo dei prostitutes, era esclusivamente di carattere politico. Questo mi ha permesso per certi versi di avere un atteggiamento estremamente curioso anche verso un mondo che non mi apparteneva. Mi interessava tantissimo, vuoi per la diversità, vuoi perché alla base comunque c'era fondamentalmente un discorso comune. Volevamo entrambi liberarci dal pericolo di essere omologati e di essere comunque inseriti in contesti che non ci appartenevano. Posso dire che è stato bellissimo perché tutto era possibile in quegli anni, era tutto assolutamente possibile. C'era alla base una letteratura e una musica che accompagnava come una colonna sonora le gesta di chiunque volesse misurarsi artisticamente.
People see jail as an afar, abstract place, almost as if it isn't part of life, and it's not all about the deprivation of personal freedom, crowded cells, total loss of privacy, usual mortifying searches after detox sessions, especially on the drug addicts, called by the convicts push-ups on the arsehole, are an unusual part of it. Identify gets often confused with mere numbers, like the one of your section, of your floor, of your cell. Unless you are really thick-skinned, An experience like that will change you forever, because prison is a punishment that tastes more like revenge, as it has no re-educational intents. With drugs abuse as a mass phenomenon, the only result of this prohibitional system was the overpopulation of the prisons, mainly the people whose only fault was to have made a choice that did oppose with the current morals or the way of life considered right by the majority. It's the triumph of hypocrisy.